Good morning. This is Chapter 3, Section 1. The Atom from a Philosophical Idea to Scientific Theory. So basically we have to know the laws that we have here. So we have three main laws that we've underlined. The first one is law of conservation of mass, which states that the mass is neither created nor destroyed during ordinary chemical reactions or physical changes, and we know what that means. It means that if two substances, let's say, react with each other, their masses is going to be still conserved, even if they are converted to new substances. Law of definite proportions, and it's we've already underlined that, and it's in bold in your book. It means that the proportions of the constituents of any compound is always the same, whether you have a small amount or a big amount. Law of multiple proportions, if you have two or more different compounds that are composed of the same two elements, then the ratios that make them up is always a ratio of small whole numbers. An example on that in your book, if you have carbon monoxide, CO, and then they explain that it's always a 1-to-1. The mole ratio between carbon and oxygen is a 1-to-1. Also the mass ratio the same, okay? And then if you compare, let's say, carbon monoxide to carbon dioxide, as you can see here, you have 1 carbon to 2 carbon atoms, okay? That just explains it. And then we talked about the John Dalton proposal. Now, what did he propose for the atom? And we said that there are his theory is summed up by 5 main points. As you can see here, they're very obvious. But then we said that Dalton's atomic theory contradicts the modern atomic theory because of the point where it says that atoms cannot be subdivided. It's the subdivision point, as we said. And that's why we said here that atoms can be subdivided into small particles. Moving on to the structure of the atom, we explained the cathode ray tube experiment that Thomson carried out. And we talked about the conditions and the setup of the experiment. Talked about all of that. Conclusions. And then we said that he discovered mainly the electrons, and then we talked about the charge to mass ratio, okay? And we said that Milken contributed to that, of course, and we said that the ratio is always the same, okay? Of course, the charge of the electron is way bigger than its mass, because we said that its mass is almost negligible. It hardly contributes to the mass of the atom. Okay. And then we talked about the plum pudding model.